So let me see who is here. Destiny, can you shut that door? We are becoming more and more online. Today, we only have one person in the room. And maybe we might move to totally online. What would you think of that? You want to come here?
I mean, it don't matter. All my other classes online, so.
Oh, your other classes? Okay. I kind of wanted to, learn how to do this, plus I need to move around because otherwise I sit in my desk too much. But maybe I need to think about that. Supposedly, Starbucks is going to open up on the 28th. So they're rushing to get that done. I'm assuming they're going to provide us all with special expensive drinks as a thank you. Okay, so who's here? Abby, are you here? I haven't seen you yet. Logan. Oh, hi, Abby. Just called your name.
Hey. Oh, I'm here.
Okay. Logan. All right, let's see. Ariana, I see you. La Destiny is here. Are you trying to get in? Oh. Okay, 2 people in the room. So La Destiny is here. Reagan, did I see you online? Oops. Raina, Paul, online. Taryn, I saw you. You there?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Kalia, yes. Are you there? Behind the big T. Joe. Veronica, hi. Alyssa, hi. Liz, yes. Are you there?
Yes.
Hi. Deasia, I think I saw you somewhere. Hi. Dana. Whitney. And Brenda. Okay. So some of you may have noticed that I went through and graded all these various little exercises we've been doing lately. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to access things that are graded within Blackboard. And so just to show you, it'll probably be this. Can you guys online see my Blackboard?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I'm not sure, you probably get some kind of notification somehow, depending on how you set up your notifications, if something is graded. And if you never get a notification, you might want to go into your Blackboard settings and see if you can change those. But grades can be accessed actually in two places, but the main place is under My Grades. And the way I set up the course menu, I put My Grades under Communication, assuming this is a communication between you and me. And so when you click on My Grades, you'll see all of the assignments that exist so far. If it's been graded, there will be a grade over in the right corner. The way I set up the grades is just a running total. And I don't usually, especially at the beginning, show a percentage because it's kind of misleading because some things may not yet be graded, and so it may just kind of give you the sense, just the wrong sense. But you can figure out your percentage by doing the math at the total. So this is my practice student role so that I can see what it looks like for students. And so the total of points that I have currently is 30. And in really small print below it is another 30, because that tells me that I've gotten 30 out of 30. I always give myself 100% on everything so that I know what 100% would be. So you can always figure that out, and you do that by just doing the simple division, 30 divided by 30, which is 1 or 100%. And you'll see here that there's the submission box for the analysis of usability assignment. And in many assignments, most assignments, I didn't do it with some of these earlier ones, but with most assignments, there will be a rubric, and you just click on the rubric, and the rubric tells you what you got. It looks like I didn't even I didn't actually evaluate myself using the rubric. I just put down the total possible, but what you'll get is, it'll be a check mark at the category. And if I put a comment on there, there may be a comment under one of those things. And I know I did put comments on many people's that I was doing, just so you know. The first big assignment that we're about to start working on is called the Pair of Letters assignment. And you'll see it has 100-point possible, and it says upcoming, and it's got the rubric ahead of time, which is ideally what I'll try to do. And so if you take a look at the rubric, that'll give you an idea of what I'm expecting. So let's see, what else can you, it says you can order it in different ways. You can choose it to only show the graded ones. You can choose it to only show the upcoming. And if you've submitted something but not received a grade, you can choose that, but I haven't done that for myself yet. And down here below, it says submission receipts. So there is this submission receipt process that you should definitely check on to to make sure that you've received the receipt. So, and this tells you that it got it. In case for some reason it doesn't show up in my computer, then you say, well, I got this receipt, and then we can track down what the problem is. Any questions just about the logistics of receiving grades? Whoops. One other place you can see grades is if there's a submission box, as there was with the rhetoric and design of workplace writing. On the submission box itself, where you submitted, if there's a rubric, you can click on it and view the rubric. If there are comments, and I just wrote, here are comments, just to illustrate that we do that. By the way, notice that this is already my second attempt. I changed the settings on this assignment so that there are, I think, 6 attempts possible. And so if I've said to you, you need to kind of keep working on it and resubmit or add something else, just click on Start Now, and you can submit again. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so today what we're going to do is pick up some more on the idea of how to organize and display and arrange information so that it's useful, or what we've been calling the CRAP process. And I asked each of you to participate in groups and pick out a new handout or infographic or poster. Infographic's the newest term, and they tend to be smaller. And there are new technologies that allow you to create infographics. Posters tend to be bigger. I'm not sure, the CDC things, I think they're often designed for different kinds of ways of displaying. So there were 4 groups, and I would like each group to talk a little bit about their document, and I am going to be able to, I'm going to do it this way. All right, if you sent it to me already, oh, CDC. Okay, so before class, I did receive 2. Did somebody send, did any other group send any since
I don't know if someone from my group sent it.
Yeah. Hours.
We did.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so that makes me remember. So these are called CDC and infographic. You cannot tell from the title whose it is. So same thing, if you're going to do a group project, put something in the title so you know whose it is. So Rayana, one of these is yours, right? Yours is infographic? Okay. And CDC is, who's this CDC?
That's Veronica, Abby, Ariana,
Okay.
oh, I forget,
Talia.
Talia? Yes, Talia.
Leah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at those two. Those will be good. Did anybody else send any?
I just shared ours with you. It was me,
Who's
Alyssa,
Who's talking?
Elizabeth.
Okay. You just shared it just now?
I shared it a couple days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. I wasn't sure where to upload it, but you should have an email with the link to it. I can resend it if that would be easier.
Well, no, I think under Heffler or
Yeah, it'll be under Hafler.
Heffler. There you go. All right. Okey doke. So, anybody want to start?
Yeah, just start on ours.
Who's talking?
Abigail.
Okay, yours is the CDC one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You just want us to like read what we wrote
Yeah.
or what?
Um,
Okay.
you can
Well-
sort of talk it out. Is this the whole infographic or was this just a part of it?
That's the whole thing.
Okay.
There was like an article that went with it under it, I think, or like to explain it, but that's the whole like poster of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Each one of us can read.
for contrast, is someone else talking or is it just me?
Hey, Abby, if you will hide your
Yeah.
video, maybe the sound will come through a little better. Okay,
Can you hear me
Sometimes
better like this?
yeah. It sounded like you
Okay.
were underwater before.
Oh yeah, I'm on a cheap little Chromebook. Okay. So for contrast, we obviously talked about the blue, green, and red colors at the bottom. And we also talked about the white letters on top of the color background to stand out more. And
Anybody else in the group want to add something?
yes, someone else take it away.
Okay.
Some of
Well,
the,
Well, I was gonna let her take it away for contrast. For the R for repetitive, we talked about the repetitive shapes, the repetitive squares and rectangles there, aligned up. What is it? It wasn't animation, it was live pictures.
Oh, it
And
was. Oh, okay.
the matching words. So we also talked
Oh,
about
I see what you mean. Not
Mhm.
animated as in moving, but yeah, they're photographs.
correct, and that was repetitive as well, the pictures, the photo. We talked about the repetitive, like clip art under there with clean, got the drop, you got separate, you have those little arrows, cook, you have the Fahrenheit temperature thing, and chill. They had the little frost there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, does somebody want to talk about alignment?
Veronica, do you want to or do you want me to?
go ahead, I'll get the proximity.
Okay. For alignment, we basically were saying that it's not uneven whatsoever. They're evenly sized and shaped to match everything else. And the photos aren't off of each other. They're evenly placed to where you just read it from left to right, and it's not going to confuse you or anything like that. Each section and the lower section above or below the pictures are evenly spaced and evenly aligned too, to make it all symmetrical and all neat and everything. The photos are with it. The symbols above the words, those all match. It's not just symbol word or word symbol every other one. And all that is what we talked about with alignment. They all like align together and it's not off in any way.
And
Yeah.
then on proximity, we talked about how the pictures were close to the instructions and how the information is directly related, the information in the text is directly related to the main heading, and how the pictures are close to each other, showing that they go with that particular set of text, so they can all be read together. We talked about how when you just glance at it, the information is all right there.
Mhm.
Easy to read, it's easy to see, easy to understand because of the way it's all structured.
So the heading is 4 steps, and that tells you instantly that these 4 rectangles are each steps.
Correct.
And then that follows. One of the things that's kind of interesting to me about it, this is kind of a contrast thing, that we have these photographs and everything else is just sort of a design element. And if you took the photographs away, it would be really boxy, really rectangular. But the photographs each add a little bit of a movement in it. And there's the line of the hand is this way, and the line of the refrigerator is that way. And then there's actually a circle under cook, and then you have a line that way. And that contrast kind of keeps it from being so much just a box thing, and makes it look pretty nice. A non-contrast thing, I just noticed this as I was looking at the pictures, is that the red in the tomatoes and the red on the thermometer and the red in the top of the little plastic thing and the red in the tomatoes pretty much is all the same red and pretty much goes with the red that they use. So just little things like this are giving it a sense of unity and cohesion. So yeah, great job, guys. Okay, so let's look at the since I have this up. All right, so this is the one that Raina, LaDestiny, and Paul did here in the classroom. So, and you guys probably need to talk loudly for people on screen to hear.
Go first. Okay, for contrast, we talked about the colors, talked about the dark blue and the turquoise at the top, talked about the white and yellow, and the brown and turquoise. We talked about how some of the font sizes are in bold.
And I also highlighted, in blue to kind of make everything stick out from the other brown text. Oh, you can scroll down.
So this is a front and a back, or?
It was like 4 different ones.
Pardon?
It was like 4 different pictures, but we only chose 2 of them.
Okay. Any other contrasts? Colors, font size, font bolding or unbolding?
Well, I think those are all we really noticed. And then also for like alignment, we noticed that, for instance, at the top, each section is, divided like in equal parts, and they all have the circle pictures in front of the words, so that it's easier to read and look at and understand the information. And I guess that does kind of go with proximity as well. Everything is just lined up and spaced out, so it's easier to read.
For the R one, we talked about how the shapes and circles are the same, and how there's waves at the bottom and top of each. Both of them.
I'm sorry, say louder.
We talked about how the shapes on both of them, like the sun, and how waves at the top on both of them and the bottom.
Which of course is appropriate for the content since people are outside on the beach.
Both of them have a logo at the top.
So that's a repetition. You can also say something about contrast about that logo.
But at the top, one of them at the top and one at the bottom.
Yeah. What about the color?
They're both blue and white.
And so it's totally different from the color scheme of the document itself, which brings it out. You know, they're trying to say that this is a CDC document. One of the things you could say about alignment, there's something called the rule of thirds with layout. And you can think about this when we start working on the format for letters. And you may have some cameras that offer you that. One of my cameras at home, one of my Logitech cameras at home, asked me if I want it to be centered or blocked or rule of thirds. But the rule of thirds is this idea that divide something into three and kind of use that three for your design. So the top third is this protect all the skin you're in. And then the bottom 2/3 are the light yellow parts. And the same thing is going on the second one. It's also going on in a horizontal way as well. So that both of these have, well, this one particularly, the first 2/3 up to here is the text, and then the final 2/3 of this block at the end is a third. Great. Paul, do you want to add anything?
Oh, I don't know that I have too much to add to what they've said already.
I did not know he was on there.
You didn't know he was?
I didn't know he was on there.
Yeah, I'm sickly today, so I'm avoiding humans. But no, I think they pretty much went down the list we made already. Talked about the alignment already, the repeating shapes. Stuck handy dandy little pictures next to the instructions that weren't bullet pointed as far as proximity goes.
Okay. So Liz. All right. So Liz, who else was in your group? Elissa, Deasia, it's right here. Oh, good. Is there a copy of the, oh, here it is. Can everybody see this wash up? We're all being so healthy. What gets okay, so this is a wash your hands thing. Okay, somebody want to tell us a little bit about it? Like one person could tell us about contrast, one could tell us about repetition.
For repetition, I noticed that the style of the drawings is the same throughout the poster. And then Alyssa noted that they're the same shapes and fonts throughout the poster.
Wet, get soap, scrub, rinse, dry. And there's that font. Is this a different font? Wash your hands?
Yes. I know the contrast one. I jumped around.
Yeah, that's okay. So these are all the same fonts. What if they switched? What do you think is the benefit of this particular font versus the other one?
I think the wash your hand one kind of shows like not urgency, but the importance of the poster, and then having the different font throughout the bubbles aligns everything, or not aligns, but matches all the steps.
Okay.
So it just kind of separates the two.
I mean, to some extent, it creates proximity by identifying each step in this. What else can you say about this font? Would you want to use it in a letter?
I wouldn't.
It's too big, but it's not professional.
It's more of a fun font. It's not very formal. It catches, but I wouldn't type a paper with that font.
Right. So obviously one of the things you need to think about with fonts is sort of the tone it sets. This is why some of your teachers will say you can only use Times New Roman or Arial or something like that. Some of the very traditional fonts that people are totally used to, and so they won't notice the font instead of the content.
Because this one's more to like grab attention and make it kind of fun for people to actually do it.
Right. Do you think this is going to be put in a construction site? Where do you think they're likely to put this particular infographic?
Schools.
Yeah, like it going in elementary school.
What?
Elementary school.
Elementary schools. I mean, it definitely seems like it's designed for a young, playful audience. And
You could also put it
go ahead.
in the hospital as well, like in their bathrooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they're trying to kind of cheer people up a little. Hands that look clean can still have icky germs. That's kind of the clue that this is definitely designed for a young audience. Okay, so contrast, repetition, alignment. What kind of alignment do we see?
The wash your hands is larger in size and left centered to show the importance of the poster, or like the main idea of the poster.
Yeah. So this is definitely not a big rectangular alignment like that. But what does it do for alignment? How does it do the alignment?
Well, the first step is at the top for washing your hands, and then the last step in washing your hands is at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a perfect half circle. The arrows, notice, come out of each circle at the exact same spot. So you're seeing, and if you're not paying attention, you might stick your arrow up one place or down another, but putting it exactly in the same place really focuses the eye, makes you move from step to step to step. So alignment doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be left or right. It can also be like this as well. So great. One of the things that I put on the, all right. Meeting controls back. Share. All right. One of the things I kind of skipped over in the website and said to do on your own was this idea of parallelism. And I do want to quick touch base on it briefly. And it is a style issue that is basically a type of repetition grammatically. And it applies anytime that you have, where's my circle? Not very good at this. Good. It applies when you have lists and when you have coordinations. And we see it over and over in all of these posters because of these lists of actions. And we saw in, well, I think it was in all of the ones, well, they all had parallel verb forms. So go back to sharing the screen. In the wash your hands, the parallel verb forms are wet, get soap, scrub, rinse, dry. In the CDC poster that we looked at last class, watch your distance, wash your hands, wear a mask. All of them are starting with an active verb, order. Every single list is in a parallel form. So here we have the dorm, shared bathroom, classroom, dining hall, and meals, laundry room. What grammatical form is being repeated in this list? What grammatical form is dorm or bathroom or classroom?
So place.
They're all places, which makes them not verbs.
Nouns.
Nouns, right? They're all they're all nouns that are places, and nouns are person, place, or thing. So it's repeated the grammatical form, but even more, it's repeating the meaning type form of a place. But then under each one of these, it's also parallel. Avoid sharing items. If you do, clean and disinfect before sharing or using. So the verb is avoid sharing. And here the verb is clean and disinfect. And share a bathroom, avoid placing toothbrushes, and use totes, classroom, enroll, wipe, skip, avoid. So every single one is in a form, sort of in imperative form that starts with a verb. This is what you should do. So on the course website, and I urge you to watch this video because they do a good job explaining it. We don't have time to go over it. Everybody wants money. You've all probably heard of the Khan Academy, this person a couple years ago who started this, and now, of course, it's a really valuable tool that lots of schools I know are doing. And you know, not just for this class, but for all sorts of things, you can always go in there and see if you can find some things if you need to learn about it. But one of the things they have when they have these grammar sections is they have practice. So here's a parallel structure practice, just to help you see. Why is it not? Oh, this is one. That's the problem. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that this kind of. So you can actually do this and it'll give you, you know, you can keep practicing it so that to get yourself used to it. Parallel structure is one of the things that can make your writing really sound smooth and cohesive. Just like repetition in a visual can make it all kind of come together, repetition in your language forms can also make it sound together. And if you have a chance to listen to a really good speaker, maybe we'll sometime, you'll hear that he or she uses a lot of parallel structure. And that gives it sort of a rhythm and a moving. If you go to church and you listen to a pastor, listen sometime how often he or she repeats things and does that parallel structure. So just to get a little bit more familiar, it's asked, let's do a couple of these exercises. Mysterious stranger hailed a cab, hopped in, and disappeared into traffic is one option. The mysterious stranger hailed a cab, hopped in cab, and was disappearing into traffic was a second. The mysterious stranger hailed a cab to hop in and disappeared into traffic. So which one is the parallel structure? You guys could just speak up. A. Yes. Everybody agree it's A? Yes, I hope so. So this stranger hailed a cab, hopped in, and disappeared into traffic. It's a parallel verb form. What is the parallel verb form? The ED ending, telling you it happened in the past. So what happens with B is it starts with hailed, a past tense, and second one continues the pattern, hopped in, but the third one does a different kind of verb form, was disappearing. And this often happens. You start a pattern and then you shift in the middle. So just kind of, and then sometimes, especially in a draft, it's fine to keep it all, mishmash, don't worry too much about it. But when you're finalizing something, go back, and anytime you have a list or a coordination or bullet points like we have in these posters, make sure you've got a parallel verb form. Here we have hailed a cab, but then the second one was to hop in and disappeared into traffic. So yes, great work. The invaders torched the village, looted the treasury, and had stolen all our sheep. The invaders torched the village, looting the treasury, and stole all our sheep. The invaders torched the village, looted the treasury, and stole all our sheep. Which is the correctly parallel one? C? Does everybody think C online?
Yep.
Oh, somebody thinks B? Why?
Who said B? I thought everyone said C.
So actually, and this is the important point, that parallelism is not always a grammatical right or wrong. It's a question of style and what you wanted to say. So the invaders torched the village, looting the treasury, and stole all our sheep is a totally grammatical sentence. And what it does is kind of focuses on this looting of the treasury, because you can have a participle. And basically what it is the invaders torched the village and stole all our sheep, with this looting the treasury sort of stuck in the middle. It's a possibility. But C is more likely to be seen as effective because he has 3 past tense verbs. Yes. Conrad the Magnificent pulled a rabbit, produced a bouquet of flowers from nowhere, and a beehive out of a top hat. This is the kind of sentence that often happens where you've got several things happening, but you've got to figure out what is sort of the lead in to the several things happening. And if you pay attention, you realize that what he's talking about is 3 different things coming out of a top hat. So the third one works out the best. Conrad the Magnificent pulled a rabbit, a bouquet of flowers, and a beehive out of a top hat. And so what you see here is, in this case, the parallelism is not in the verb, but it's in the object of the direct object of the verb. So what did he pull? He pulled a rabbit, he pulled a bouquet of flowers, and he pulled a beehive out of a top hat. So, questions? I'm going to leave you to do the last one at home. And if you don't understand it, it will always give you explanations. So you can kind of figure out what it is that you do or don't understand. This, like a whole lot of things that we've been doing in these last 3 weeks, is a kind of thing that I may say to you on your writing as you start producing it. Work on parallelism to make this list sound better. So I want you to be sure that you know what parallelism is, so then you know where to go. Where to go is back into lesson 3 or week 3 on See if we go back there. No, we go here. Back into week 3 on the course site. And on week 3, I actually gave you the link. So there's the video is where it links to with the practice exercises on the left, and then explanations and expert exercises at another online site called Grammar Bites, which is another thing that's becoming useful. So one of the things I'd like you all to do is to take a look at that poster that you've done and see if you can identify all the parallelism, just at home, not right now, but that is something to think about. Questions about parallelism? I know I'm going through it really, really fast. So what I want you to know is what the resources are so you can work on these kinds of things on your own. Okay. We are starting now on the first big project for the course. And it is listed under week 4. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but I'm not going to read the entire assignment. That's what you need to do for Thursday. And for Thursday, you need to be prepared to tell me what you're going to do your assignment, your pair of letters assignment on. Oh dear. Why did the spring 2020? I'm sorry, what?
What section can we find his rubric under? Oh, week 4, okay.
Yes, and this right here is from last spring. So this, I will fix it later today. This should be today, this year. Yeah. All right, so on the website, so everybody can see the website, Writing for the Workplace? It's called Week 4 Letters in the Bottom Line. So the big assignment that you're going to be working on is called A Pair of Letters. And a real concept that we're going to focus on is on the idea of the bottom line, that is figuring out what's the really most important thing you want to accomplish with these letters and making sure that your letter does that. So I will correct this here. This is my spring assignment is in the to-do list, but over here, the under major assignments is the assignment itself. And as we go through the semester, I'll be adding the other major assignments. All right. Make sure you're looking at something with fall 2020 deadlines, not spring. All right, so here's the assignment. The assignment is to write 2 letters. One that is basically a response to the other. And there are 2 options. You can write a bad news letter followed by a good news letter about the same topic. So for example, you're going to, the examples I've given here, you're going to discontinue something that was previously offered. There's a lot of bad newsletters we've been getting lately anyway. So let's say you're the Arkansas Democrat Gazette and you're going to write this bad newsletter that you're going to stop home delivery of the newspaper. Somebody in communications at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette had to come up with a letter phrasing that and saying that to the community. And remember that one of the things to think about with any kind of communication in the workplace is the relationship between the parties. So when you're writing a bad news letter to somebody, you have to tell them bad news, but you also want to maintain the relationship between them and yourself. And so that's going to be one of the goals that you have in it. Then the good news version of that same letter might be, oh, good news, we're going to start offering free iPads so you can read newspapers online all the time. It's kind of a framing issue there. So that's one option, a good news and a bad news letter on the same topic. Now, what I want you to do is to try to pick something that you know something about, that you experienced. Maybe somebody actually has told you this bad news, and you're going to rewrite it in a way that's a better done. Or you have to tell somebody some bad news, and then just imagine yourself in the alternate position of saying the good news. Option 2 is to write a complaint letter and then a response. So we all have things to complain about. You know, let's say, well, I've been trying to get Verizon to, my mother passed away in May, and she had automatic deductions for her Verizon cell phone. And we finally managed to get get it to stop charging her every month. But they charged her all the way through August, from May to August. And now I cannot get them to deduct, all these payments. I'm about at the point that I'm going to give up. But maybe for this assignment, I will come up with a letter that will maybe finally ever do it. Part of the problem with cell phones is that, compared to everything else, it is the hardest thing to get anybody to talk to you about a person who's not you. They want so much proof that I'm not just some stranger calling to cancel her phone. Anyway, so I've given you examples. You don't have to pick them, but feel free to pick them if you want. So this assignment asks you to kind of be both realistic and also imaginative, because one of these letters is probably going to be realistic. The other one, you're going to pretend to be somebody probably who you're not. So if you're doing a complaint letter, probably it'll be realistic that you're complaining. Then the response letter, you'll pretend to be whoever responding and how you might respond to solve the problem. Now, it's fun to, suddenly give everybody free coupons and free money and free everything, but we'll try to be semi-realistic in that. All right, back to just of the details. So this Thursday, the 17th, you need to have a topic. Then next Thursday, the 24th, there'll be a draft. We'll have peer review in class with groups on both online and in person. And then you'll revise in response to that peer review. And then finally on the week of September 29th, October 1st, well, not finally, we'll have another review, this time with me, and I'll be canceling the big class, and we'll have individual, personal conferences talking about it, Zoom. And then what I'm calling the re-revision will be due in Blackboard on October 6th. So that's the schedule. We'll be basically working on this for the next 3 weeks. And these dates are also in the calendar as well. Let's see if there's anything else in here. So here are the criteria that I built the rubric around. And I recommend that you read these. So 40% is on basically achieving the purpose, making sure you know what your audience and purpose is and that you're doing that. 20% is on how you organize it. 20% is on conventions of language. And then 10% is on the technology and conventions, including following the formats for letters and, you know, design an appealing document. Now, these days, very few people actually do letters like in the mail with a postage stamp, but they still do letters by email, either as attachments or as an email, but with pretty much all the same components as a regular letter, but maybe not the same address components. And then, by the way, 10% meets deadlines. And those criteria turn into, here's one of these Blackboard rubrics. And you can look at this closer when you have a chance. So I've tried to describe what it is that I'm going to be asking to see there, et cetera. Okay, questions?
None right now. I'm sure we'll have some later on down the road, though.
Does anybody have any complaint letters you're in the process of writing or think you should write?
So like, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so would I be able to write, okay, so like the school was supposed to take my meal plan off like before I started the semester and they didn't take it off. They're not gonna take it off till tomorrow. So like the first 2 payments like that I've had to make have been calculating in the meal plan. So like could I write a complaint letter about like how I had to make the first 2 payments like with the meal plan included in it?
Sure. What would you want to accomplish from this complaint letter?
I don't know. Let them know I'm mad, basically. Maybe get my money back for it.
Okay, so here's one of the things about complaint letters. Compulsion is to rant at somebody because you're really pissed off. And you just want to let them know what jerks they are.
Exactly, yeah.
That can make you feel better, but it doesn't solve anything. And I encourage you to do that, you know, if you know it'll make you feel better. But don't send it. If you want to send the complaint letter, you've got to figure out what it is you want to accomplish from something. So yeah, it would be reasonable if you, if they charged you for your meal plan and made you pay for something that you shouldn't have had to pay for, that's something to complain about. And it is reasonable to request some, either the money back or a credit or, you know, some kind of thing like that. And that's what you have to keep in mind with these letters. And that's why I'm saying that the focus is going to be on the bottom line. What do you want to accomplish by this? Besides making yourself feel better, which is, you know, which is good, whatever. So,
okay, so at the end, like,
that would be totally appropriate. Pardon?
So at the end, like, okay, so in the letter, like, we have to be saying, like we have to be trying to get something. Like, it can't just be a letter where we're pissed. Like, we want to, like, cuss them out. Like, the whole point of it is, like, to get something out of it. Does that make sense?
Well, you know, I guess I never say never, but if all you're doing is getting your anger out, you know, it's fine to write it, but you have to realize that it's for yourself. This assignment is to write the letter that you would send to a real person.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
I have something that I can definitely complain about. I've been debating on doing it. So in the beginning of the year, Euler was offering laptops to students, and like we had to fill out this whole form about why we think we're eligible, you know, if we filled out our taxes and all this other stuff. And so I filled it out. I filled it out twice, actually. And I went up to the library, and she was like, hey, I don't see your name for pickup. It should have sent you a confirmation for pickup when you got approved. I said, okay. I said, well, let me know that I'm disapproved or whatever. And she was like, yeah, it'll just send you an email. So that's what I did it the second time, and I didn't receive anything. And so that's really why I've been back and forth, because one of my laptops like moved super, super slow. So I just got a new Mac, or whatever, but they didn't never send me anything. And it was supposed to help us out. You know, it's supposed to help us out. So I'm like, hey, this is, you know, interfering with my grades, interfering with my classes. So like I say, when I ordered my new one, I just kind of let it go, but something that definitely bothered me, like seriously.
So what could be the purpose of writing? Even though at this point she went ahead and bought her own computer.
Oh, again, it could affect my the program that I'm in and my grades, because I didn't have an accessible laptop, which is needed during this time.
So what's the problem? What are you complaining about? Not receiving, I guess not getting feedback, you know, from the department of whoever that was supposed to give me feedback. Like I said, they didn't even tell me if I was approved or not approved. Overall, it's not receiving a laptop. But like I said, they didn't even acknowledge me. They didn't even acknowledge me. So I don't know how I word that. Well, it kind of depends on if you still want to ask for a laptop, but even if you have gone ahead and purchased another one and you don't, do they need to know this problem?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Future reference. And if I did not get my laptop, then I would still be screwed. And it's kind of misleading, I guess you could say, because the offer was for all students during this time, and they didn't follow through. And so, like I said, there's misleading or
well, it wasn't for all students because they don't have enough for all students, but that's why they have
Well,
this.
it was for the people. I did this early. So this is in the very beginning. So the needy students, that's what it was for.
Right.
People that needed it. That's definitely what they said.
Right. So it was reasonable for you to expect one, but even more, it's reasonable that that you should I'm trying to see, make sure, everybody needs to put themselves on mute, except for Talia and me, and then that'll help with this. It's reasonable for you to have expected it, but even more important, they need to fix their communication. People need to know what's, you know, need to be responded. So your letter could definitely, even if you've decided to go ahead and buy another one, you could say, you know, you need to know, and in case there are additional laptops you'd like to you know, find out where you are on the waiting list and blah, 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 whatever their system is. I have no idea what their system is, but. So this might be a case where part of it is just letting them know how screwed up their system is, not asking something from them. But that's an important thing. And then again, you'll turn around and you'll pretend to be, it's called the CARES team. You'll pretend to be the CARES team and respond back and try to provide a good response. Questions? Okay, so for homework, you want to read that assignment. It's both in the website and in Blackboard, and pick a, you know, decide on what your topic is going to be. And that's all. And I will see you next week. I mean, Thursday. Sorry.
Righty.
So, I didn't say that. Bye-bye.